Welcome back, beloveds. Welcome back. Welcome back. Well, this morning, my title is Saturated Soul. I know where it came from, but I still ask, where'd that come from? Why is it that? And it's, what I know is that the titles come and they're done out into the future, and that's an intention. I know that. That is placing something out there to pull. But this is so perfect today. So perfect today. So I begin with my childhood, because for me, childhood is such a teacher, such a learning curve, if you will. So when I was a young boy, my family would take my sisters and I to a little town outside of San Antonio, Texas. I was born in San Antonio. And the place is named Devine, D-E-V-I-N-E, much like Paradise to Chico, Devine to San Antonio. And I always loved that name. We pulled into this little community about the size of Durham. There were topiaries, larger than life, animal topiaries as you entered the town. Back in the period, communities did stuff like that. They had time. They were creative. And it didn't matter the size of the town, but they did stuff like that. So we'd pull into the town, and we'd get so excited, and we'd pull into Grandma's house. Well, my grandmother was such a teacher. She said, there is so much of life around. Pay attention. Pay attention. There's so much in nature. Pay attention. She loved her garden. She loved her flowers. Well, if you've been to this part of Texas, you know it rains quite a lot in certain seasons. Well, my grandmother saved water because the water ran off into the streams. The well was very shallow. In order to have her garden and her yard and her flowers, she saved water. How'd she do that? From the downspout to a barrel. She had barrels everywhere. And she had these old kind of scoop-handled tin dippers. And we'd all get to go dip in to the water. And so the rains would come and fill up the rain, or the barrels. And so, but what I come to find out about that in the metaphor here this morning is that the rain is spirit, which saturates us. And it falls toward us evenly. It falls all over. And then we, as the downspout, get to access it into our soul, which I'm using the barrel. Now, how much we access depends on what? Our downspout. I got a couple that need attention at home. But, so if the downspout is clogged, or it's missing the barrel, it's not captured. It's not enjoyed. Not able to dip into it. And so, what I know about that is life is always nourishing us. Life is always giving to us. But we, as the downspout, we as the one that says, yes, I'll let it in. We are the ones that get to say how much flows in. And so, how often do we let other things in to our, I'll use our soul, into our inner self? What do we call into ourselves? Do we call in love? Joy? How do we season our soul with our experiences of life? What do we choose to do and to have and to be in our lives? You know, there was a time when I would have said no to yesterday. Because, I couldn't leave town. I have to do a lesson tomorrow. And yet, yesterday was the lesson for me. And so I got to have a larger downspout. Mine was expanded just a little bit more. So that my barrel has a lot more in it today. Now there's going to be dry spells, there's going to be droughts in our lives. And that barrel may not be quite as full. But what I do know is that if we keep it open, then, by staying open and looking at the possibilities, hearing the call, like from Dr. Candace yesterday, hearing the call that came through, and allowing that to be the seeding of the next cloud of abundance for our lives. Ernest Holmes says, nothing can flourish unless there is something that nourishes. Nothing can flourish unless there is something that nourishes. So, how are you nourishing? How do you nourish your soul? I love my friends. I love my friends. And this one couple has invited me every Friday night, even before, since Reverend Louis made his transition. It's an open invitation. And that means so much to me to know that there's so much love that flows. And it flows through all of you, through everybody. But that's one example. I mean, there's so much that flows to us. And it's flowing to each one of us today. So can you close your eyes for a moment? What is the best thing flowing into your life right now? What is the very best? The very best. Do you want more of that? So thank you. So when we start seeing out about what's missing, about where the dry spells of our lives are, as Ernest Holmes said earlier, that's what we create for ourselves. We're seeing and we're creating and we're noticing and we're embodying and we're therefore creating out of our creative self, through Spirit, through God, the Infinite One, more of that. So that's why in the teaching we say turn toward that which we want more of. Turn back to the divine principle. Turn back to the potential that we each are. I have a reading that just popped up to me. It's only 14 pages. No, it's like 2 pages. Do any of you know who Rumi? Heard of Rumi? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a translation by Coleman Barks, who actually was in Chico once upon a time and did. This is called Moving Water. So I'd like you to really hear the words to this. When you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you, a joy. When actions come from another section, the feeling disappears. Don't let others lead you. They may be blind, or worse, vultures. Reach for the robe of God. And what is that? Putting aside self-will. Because of willingness, because of willfulness, people sit in jail. The trapped bird's wings are tied. Fish sizzle in the skillet. The anger of police is willfulness. You've seen a magistrate inflict visible punishment. Now, see the invisible. If you would leave your selfishness, you would see how you've been torturing your soul. We are born and live inside black water in a well. How could we know what an open field of sunlight is? Don't insist on going where you want to go. Don't insist on going where you want to go. Ask the way to the spring. Your living pieces will form harmony. There is a moving palace that floats in the air with balconies and clear water flowing through, infinity everywhere, yet contained under a single tent. So what I know is that our soul is being forever fed. And so if you can agree to a little bit that, yes, our souls are being a little fed, what ideas do we offer that would feed the soul? What ideas do we offer up? These are some questions I ask myself. And I've asked them a lot lately. Who am I? Is one. What do I say I want? What do I believe I deserve? And how about now? How about now? And so, those questions have propelled me. And I have a recipe for change when I get into these questions. It's the CPR. The CPR for change. Contemplation, practice, and receivership. So contemplation, that's a basic definition. Contemplation. We think about, what it is that we do. I'm going to share a little bit out of the textbook. All seeming change is merely the play of life upon itself. And all that happens must happen by and through some interaction upon itself. What would be the nature of this interaction? It could not be physical. And we understand physics, but would have to be by the power of some inner movement of life. For example, the voice of God. God standing for the first cause, the first great and only cause of all that is. So by contemplating that, yes, there is something within me that is cause to experience, then I move to spiritual practice. This is spiritual practice. We each have a spiritual practice. We offer up lots of ideas here, but you choose your own. That's one of the greatest gifts that I have in life, and we all have, is choice. And the third is to receive. Receive the gift. Receive the flow. open your downspout and let it in. And so, life is a continuum of push and pulls. We feel we're being pushed towards something, we're getting to the point of opening. Then we get to a pull. I was pushed in February to apply for the annual minister's ongoing education course in Seattle, Washington. I was pushed into it by one of the leaders of it. It's held once a year. There are 26 people. You don't get to go because you say you want to go. There's a pull that says, come. I got the pull. I got the call. That's 26 people in the world that get to go to this, of ministers. And as a first-time attendee, it's free for me. It's a $1,000 value. It's abundance. It's my next piece of my journey. And we each have these journeys. But what I'm saying is, as a soul that is keeping its saturation level up, we must be open to the pull of Spirit to let us come to it in the best and highest way possible. So I close with an excerpt from Rumi again, the one I read earlier. When you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you and a joy. And I certainly feel that today. I know you do too. So who are you? Divine Spirit. And what do you say you want? That which you say you are. And you know you are. So what do you believe you deserve? Well, whatever that is, it is. Let it come into your life. And you have it right now, each one of you. We all do, as the Divine Spirit inside. And so, beloveds, namaste.
Namaste.
Would the ushers please come forward?